Welcome back, housemates. We are on the Ebon Hawk, flying away finally from Paragus, and this is Knights of the Old Republic 2. I'm about to talk to Kreia, and it could be quite a long conversation. I'm keen to get into long conversations, because that's why I play these games, and to, see what things I can learn, and see how I can interact with these characters, how well developed they are. So, let's start a chat.
Have you come for more answers? There is little more left to give.
You told me to come talk to you. When you lost your hand, I felt it too.
That does not surprise me, any more than you hearing my thoughts when we were apart. The pain, however, was unexpected. If I could, I would have shielded you from it.
I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, let's do that.
Save your pity. I am here to save you, not the other way around.
If I felt the loss of your hand, what would have happened if you died?
I do not know. I fear that the consequences would have been more extreme.
Yeah. More extreme? I felt like my hand was dipped in molten carbonite.
Then the sensation you would feel upon my death might be less than that, though much quicker.
Quicker? Would it have killed me? Let's go with, are you saying my life is tied to yours?
Possibly, yes, and I fear it works both ways. I would not wish to test it, nor should you.
That sounds like something you might plant into our mind if you just didn't want us to kill you, wanted to make sure that we would always keep you around and have to deal with you. Let's see. So, then we'll work together and try to be careful until we can fix this. Yeah, that sounds the most pragmatic. I want to be a sort of pragmatic character. I feel like a skill-based character would be that way, so that's what we're going to go with. Then we'll work together and try to be careful until we can fix this.
When battle is upon us, I suspect our minds are prepared enough to shield each other from the pain.
Then why weren't
I
you
think we
prepared
shall not
before?
have a repeat incident of what happened at Paragus.
Let's see. I've never heard of a link like this before, in holocrons or in the Jedi histories.
I confess its nature eludes me as well.
You sound pretty
but
angry
the bond
about it,
is
lady.
strong, and its roots run deep.
Are you my mom?
It seems the Force flows easily between us. When one of us manipulates the Force to heal or strengthen ourselves,
That's
the other
handy.
is aided as well.
You and Kreia possess the Force Chain special ability. When either of you uses a Force power on yourself, the other gains a benefit as well. Well, that's super handy, especially since I was going to build Kreia sort of as a supporty healer thing. So that is good. Good reason to keep her around, although she is kind of annoying. She's like deliberately cryptic and then gets angry when you don't understand her crypticness. You don't listen to me. I'm like, no, I'm listening to you, you just don't make any sense.
A powerful technique indeed, though, as we have noticed, it has its
Yeah, I'm going to
drawbacks.
force lightning myself to torture you. Let's see. Can you tell me what has happened since the Mandalorian Wars?
Much has happened in the galaxy in your absence, and since the defeat of the Mandalorians at Malachor 5.
Tell me about the Mandalorian Wars.
It is a tale you already know well.
No, it's not. Otherwise I wouldn't be asking.
Almost a decade ago, the Mandalorians began preying on the Republic, bringing the fires of war to many planets along the Outer Rim. Their predations continued, winning victory after victory, until the Republic finally begged the Jedi Council for
Loser
aid.
Republic. Okay, so here's another one of the things where we're shaping the history with what we say now. So this is really interesting when this happens in games, or at least from my perspective. It's an instance where what you decide now determines what happens in the past, or determines what did happen in the past. You see this also, for instance, in StarCraft II Wings of Liberty, when you are faced with an option, whatever option you, as Commander Raynor, pick, turns out to be the right one. So if you pick to act against Tosh, the rogue Spectre operative, then it turns out he was always doing some dirty dealings. and that Nova was right about him. However, if you instead choose to side with Tosh, it turns out that Nova was just kind of lying to you. So here again, we have a similar thing. What you choose is the way things actually happened. So we are shaping the history of the Star Wars universe before the game with our conversation here. So I don't know how much it has an effect on what goes on, other than sort of a cosmetic thing to make you have your own, make the playthrough your own. But let's think a little bit about this. So we can say either that the Jedi Council didn't help and only the few Jedi Knights did. We can say that the Jedi Council agreed but did not move fast enough, so we, the Jedi Knights, had to. 3, but only some Jedi Knights answered the call, like I did. So those are all roughly the same. We can sort of set up our feud, our break with the Jedi Council by answering 1. Saying that the Council didn't even help, and then we did it on our own. We can say, put the Jedi Council in a little bit more sympathetic light to say, oh, they wanted to do something, they were just kind of losers about it. I think that I want to put the Jedi, and I guess 3 sort of puts not just the Jedi Council, but also most of the Jedi Knights in a bad light. So I'm going to be down on the Jedi in general, so I'm going to go with 3. But only some of the Jedi Knights answered the call, like I did.
Indeed. The Jedi Council counseled caution and patience to assess the Mandalorian threat as the Outer Rim burned.
Let's see, then we have... let's continue on. I think 1 is the way to continue on this conversation. And Revan and Malak refused to wait.
2 Jedi Knights, Revan and Malak, defied the Jedi Council. They challenged the Mandalorian fierceness and brutality on the battlefield with a viciousness of their own. Revan's entrance into the conflict marked the true beginning and end of the war. It was Revan who drove the Mandalorians back into the unknown regions.
Let's see... Even in that final battle, we almost lost the war. Or we can... Let's see, I think 1 is a little bit too cocksure. 2 or 3 are the ones I'm thinking of. We can kind of give maybe a compliment to the Mandalorians by saying they fought savagely. Let's go with 3, talking about a Pyrrhic victory. Even in that final battle, we almost lost the war.
Yet Revan triumphed. But you know this, for you were there at Malachor 5, when the Mandalorians were crushed beneath Revan's might.
Many Jedi died at Malachor 5, and the conflict split the Jedi Order.
You speak the truth. The war's end was merely another beginning, and what seemed a victory for the Republic was far from it. Many believed the Mandalorians defeated at Malachor 5, but the Mandalorians taught the Jedi much through battle. And so it was that Malak, Revan, and the Jedi that followed them discovered their true natures in the Mandalorian crusade. But you know this.
Stop telling me that I know things. Let's see... So, we could say the wars consumed them. We can be not quite bloodthirsty, that would be 3. 2 is sort of splitting the difference. 2 is saying, look, sometimes you gotta be the bad guy in order to do things right, or something to that effect. I think I'm gonna go with that. But some battles must be fought. It was not Revan's failing.
Did Revan fail? Or was it the failure of the Jedi teachings? A question for another time, perhaps. As Revan and Malak fought the Mandalorians in battle after battle, they grew to despise weakness, just as the Mandalorians did. In the end, the Mandalorians had taught them through conflict, shaped the Jedi, and turned them into a weapon against the Republic.
And that was the Jedi Civil War.
Revan and Malak, and all the Jedi that served them, turned against the Republic and the Jedi Order. Jedi fought Jedi. Revan was ambushed by the Jedi and captured. Malak continued to wage war in his master's place, inflicting terrible wounds on the Republic. wounds that bleed still.
How were Malak and the Sith defeated?
As all Sith do without a strong enemy, the Sith turned on each other. Revan escaped the Jedi and returned to finish Malak, and that was the end of the Jedi Civil War.
Does Revan still live?
No one knows, certainly not I. Korriban lies in ruins, Revan is gone, and the blade of war he promised to stab into the heart of the galaxy has withdrawn. Where Revan wanders now, I do not know.
So, Revan saved the Republic? You're saying Revan abandoned the war?
It would seem that way from a certain point of view, perhaps. The Jedi Civil War left wounds that have yet to heal. We shall see if the Republic has the strength to survive.
See, should have crushed Republic. The Republic's weak. It didn't deserve to win. No. Then we must do what we can until it has a chance to recover from the war.
A culture's teachings, and most importantly the nature of its people, achieve definition in conflict. They find themselves or find themselves lacking. Too long did the Republic remain unchallenged. It is a stagnant beast that labors for breath and has for centuries. The Jedi Order was the heart that sustained its sickness. Now the Jedi are lost. We shall see how long the Republic can survive.
Perhaps it is better that the Republic stands on its own.
We shall see. The Jedi Civil War cost the Republic much. The resources of the Sith seemed limitless. The Republic's was not. Fleets of warships, soldiers, and people were lost. Entire planets were decimated. Their inhabitants dead or refugees. It is a great burden for any civilization to bear. And this new threat, it is a quiet thing. Unlike the Jedi Civil War, it drives at something deeper than the strength of the Republic. It is aimed at you.
It doesn't quite make any sense. Excuse me. What do you mean?
The Republic was never what was important, ever. It was but a shell that surrounds the Jedi, just as the teachings of the Jedi are a shell surrounding the heart of man. You see, the war, the true war, has never been one waged by droids or warships or soldiers. They are but crude matter, obstacles against which we test ourselves. The true war is waged in the hearts of all living things, against our own natures, light or dark. That is what shapes and binds this galaxy, not these creations of man. You are the battleground, and if you fall, the death of the Republic will be such a quiet thing, a whisper, that shall herald the darkness to come.
No pressure. There were other questions I wish to ask you.
Ask, and I will answer.
Let's see. When we were on Paragus, I could feel the Force again.
Indeed. And was it the same as before?
No, it felt different. Faint.
If my suspicions are correct, perhaps the damage the Jedi Council did was not as permanent as they thought. It is not an easy thing to cut one off from the Force.
Wait, the Jedi did this to me?
What did you believe? That you suddenly lost your connection with the Force without reason?
Yep. Let's see. It's not possible to cut one off from the Force. It's like deafening someone or blinding them. Well, it's possible to deafen and blind someone, so that's sort of a stupid thing to say, but, let's go with 2. But to cut off from the Force, it's like losing all your senses at once.
Indeed it is. It is much like losing one's ability to listen, or being put into a deep sleep, unable to awaken to the galaxy around you. Such a thing has been done before, when Jedi have pronounced sentence on their own, and exiled them as they did you.
Let's see. There must be a way to reverse what they did.
It is possible that such a thing can be undone. Still, even so, the chances of the Jedi undoing such a thing for a traitor is a slim thing at best, assuming they yet live.
But the Force, I can feel it again, if only slightly.
Our link may have had other consequences. Perhaps you can hear the Force again, distantly, through me. If so, then there is hope. I may be able to teach you, train you to feel the Force again. And if you will not allow me to help you, then other Jedi must train you, or undo the damage they have done.
Well, it seems like a useful thing, so I will honor whatever training you wish to give me.
Do not honor me, fallen Jedi. Honor it by listening and learning. Do that.
I didn't say I was going to honor you. I said I'd honor whatever training you teach me.
I offer to train you to become strong again, to know the ways of the Force, and to hear the Force sing within you as it once did.
Let's see. Let's go. I accept you as a teacher. For now.
Then our training shall begin. Whenever I travel with you, I shall impart what I can to you, through my words and presence.
There were other questions I wish to ask you.
Ask, and I will answer.
Let's see. We did 4. We've done 3. I don't think we've done 2.
These Sith, they seek the death of all Jedi, as have all the Sith, since the Jedi Order was first split.
Let's see. The Sith were once Jedi. I already know the answer to that. There was another Jedi Civil War? Or, no, I'll go first split.
Yes. The Jedi Civil War is not the first one of its kind. Thousands of years ago, the Jedi had another civil war that split the Order. It was a terrible thing. A faction among the Jedi abandoned the teachings of the Order, following their own path. They waged war on their fellow Jedi, a war that raged across the galaxy.
Seems to happen
But these
a lot.
fallen Jedi were cast out, defeated, and they retreated to worlds in the Outer Rim. Over time, they took on the mantle of the Lords of the Sith, but in their hearts they never forgot the Jedi. The hatred for the Jedi Order burns in their veins like fire and echoes in their teachings. Revan tasted it, as Malak did.
But these Sith seem different.
In a manner of speaking, they are different from Malak in that they are concerned only with the destruction of the Jedi. For them, it is all that matters, all that ever mattered. It is a different war these Sith wage, a thing of silence and shadow. They strike from the darkness, hiding from the face of the galaxy until all Jedi are exterminated. After all the Jedi are gone, then the galaxy is theirs, no matter whether the Sith or the Republic rules. It is the dark side that shall reign, unchecked.
I kind of want to say 2, because those guys were totally lame. The Sith on Paragus knew some Force techniques, but they were extremely weak.
I believe them to be the result of special teachings. Their apparent weakness against you is evidence of this. Those Sith assassins can sense their prey through the Force. It is like a hunger. They feed and grow stronger when they are near Force sensitives. The stronger their prey is in the Force, the deadlier they become. As long as you were cut off from it, you were able to evade their sight. But after Paragus, I fear that you will be no longer shielded from their eyes, or the eyes of their masters. The stronger you grow, the more will come.
Other questions?
Ask, and I will answer.
So, what do we do now?
I do not know. The Sith struck more swiftly than I thought, and they will not stop until they have you in their grasp. If you fall, all the galaxy will echo it.
So I'm the last, I guess, representative of the light side. I guess that's the idea that's going on here. And so if I'm the last Jedi, the last light side Jedi, then, or I suppose if I become a dark side Jedi, then, well, the Sith have won and the dark side will rule all. That's why I'm so important. Let's see. We can't keep running until they catch us. There must be some place we can go.
It does not matter where we go. It is not the destination that matters. It is the journey. All paths will take us to the end, whatever it may be, and no matter how strongly we fight against it. For now, we are bound for Telos and that is enough.
So, that's a sort of heavy-handed statement in a couple ways. So, all paths take us to the end, whatever it may be, and no matter how strongly we fight against it, for now we are bound for telos. So, in like Greek teleology, and so a telos is a purpose. It is that for which you are destined, that to which your path is drawn. So telos is not just an idle Star Wars name. It seems to me like it's a very deliberately chosen name. Telos is literally the end. Not in the sense of like when things stop necessarily, but the sense of an end in a purpose. So we don't need to think of the end necessarily here as being the termination, right? That's just something to play around with, and I think they're deliberately doing that because most people, when they see that, will think, oh, it'll lead to the last thing. That's not necessarily what that means. Okay, so enough for what?
Before the war, Jedi who failed their training were sent to the fields of Telos to serve the galaxy, not as Jedi Knights, but as farmers and laborers. The destruction of Telos was complete. I doubt any Jedi remain. Yet there may be echoes of their passing. We shall see.
Let's see. And if we find no trace of Jedi teachings on Telos to help us?
Then I am left with nothing more than we had already. My faith in you and your ability to meet what comes.
Well, that really isn't much. All right. That's a lot to take in at once. I need time to reflect on this.
I would see to that fool in the cockpit and remind him of our destination. I would not want him attempting to veer from Telos.
She really does not like him. He's not a fool, but he does feel odd to me. Are you feeling Atten up? I did not tell you to do that.
He is a fool and an imbecile. His potential lies downwards, not up.
All right, so
Watch
Kreia
that
is a
one.
jerk
His
face.
thoughts are slippery. I do not trust him, and nor should you. Such a man serves himself first and his allies next.
I can believe that. So, we lost some influence with Kreia. Well, I don't know exactly why, but we gained some light side points. Whatever. So, that was a lot of talking. I think I will probably, before we start talking to Atten, close this episode, even if it's not running to the full length they usually are, and have another episode just for talking to Atten if his conversation goes on quite as long as Kreia's did. So we learned a lot of stuff, we decided a little bit about what the history of the galaxy has been like, and we charted a path forward. We decided we are going to reclaim our force powers with the help of Kreia. Again, I don't know why that lost its influence. Maybe we lost influence because we said we didn't agree that Atten was a douchebag. Whatever. So now we're going to talk to Atten, the space perv, and see if he can look at our eyes long enough to actually have a conversation. If you want to see more conversations and hear them, then please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. If you're not going to do that, then I'm going to toss you out into hyperspace and see what happens. Later.